Hey guys, welcome to my channel where we talk about writing and books and reading and editing and publishing and all that jazz. Children may or may not be featured. Enjoy! Hey guys, thanks for joining me today. I wanted to share with you my next project because it is so unlike anything I've done before. So I've been working on it here and there, and it's in the very beginning stages. But I just want to get your feedback and kind of update you guys on what I am currently writing. Before I share with you this new project I'm working on, I wanted to remind you guys to subscribe on my website to my mailing list because this next week I'm going to be emailing out a little newsletter and an opportunity to get a free gift. And that free gift has to do with me sending you basically the dragonfly I think you would ride if you lived in the world of Far Below Human Eyes. So if you've read the book, get really excited. If you haven't, it's still fun because there's lots of dragonflies out there if you didn't know. And I'm going to pick one that I think you would ride. So make sure you just put your email in the subscribe box on my website, annabellehealy.com, and you'll be getting that email next week. All right, let's hop right into it. So, I've had my blog now for about a year and a half, and it has been so awesome. Like, I love sitting down every Saturday morning and just thinking about what God has taught me in that week. And it's also forced me to kind of sit down and meditate on what God is maybe teaching me weekly, monthly, daily. It's just an awesome thing that I kind of didn't intend to happen, but here we are. And I actually didn't start my blog with the golden intentions a lot of people think I did. I started it as a way to promote my book. My publisher told me, you need to do your own marketing, get better at advertising, start your own blog. It'll help you build an email list and get more customers. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. I'll try it. So I set up this blog, and the only thing that I felt like I could write about with any level of like comfort was God and Jesus. And so I started writing about my faith and the things God was teaching me in that week, and it kind of turned into something awesome. So of course, it started off kind of with selfish ambition, which was wrong on my part, but God turned it into something way better. It's just grown me closer to God. I've seen Him speak through me in ways that I seriously don't deserve, and I'm humbled to watch it all happen. But all that's to say is, over the last year and a half, I've kind of realized that I love talking about my faith. So for quite a while now, I've felt like God has been calling me to write something a little bit longer form than just a weekly blog about my faith. And I've really struggled with it all summer, kind of trying to figure out what I would talk about. I didn't really want to write a memoir because I'm only 18, and writing a memoir as an 18-year-old is just like, I have no experience. I have no authority to even write a memoir. But I also felt like God wanted me to share my own life story and how He has brought me closer to Him through my struggles and just through my story. So I came up with this idea. And I can't take total credit for these ideas because a lot of them sparked from my conversations with some of the best friends I have. Some of you know Savannah as well as Claire. I had two conversations with them that kind of gave me this idea. So it's not entirely my idea, but I just wanted to give them the credit because they really inspired me to come up with this. So I read a few pages of On Writing by Stephen King a few weeks ago, and I was really fascinated by the way he tells stories. They're very short. If you've ever read On Writing by Stephen King, you know the stories are very like little paragraphs broken up, and I just love that format because it really sucks you in. You want to kind of find out what happens, and the stories are so they just have really powerful punchlines at the end. And so you just want to keep reading, and the points they make are so profound out of these boring everyday stories. And so I kind of wanted to mimic that style, but I also wanted to focus on my faith instead of just being a memoir, because I obviously haven't made it yet. I'm not super successful or qualified to talk about, like, I made $1 million or I'm a best-selling author. Like, I'm none of those things yet, but I felt like God wanted me to write something along those lines, even though I'm not qualified yet. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut straight to the idea. Basically, I wanted to structure my book not in chapter format necessarily, but I wanted each section of my book to be a fruit of the Spirit. So, for instance, I start with love, and under that category, I have life stories where God has taught me a lot about love, or I've learned a lot about love through the people around me. Just everything pertaining to love in my life to that category. And then moving on to peace, and then self-control, and just all the way down the line. And then at the end of each of those sections, I wanted to include a story about Barabbas. And if the name Barabbas doesn't ring a bell, he is the prisoner that was set free in place of Jesus right before Jesus was crucified. So, you know the scene where all of the Jews are yelling, crucify him, crucify him. And Pilate is offering the choice between, do you want me to release Barabbas, who's like a murderer, or do you want me to release Jesus, who's done nothing wrong? And everyone says, release Barabbas. And then Barabbas is released, and he goes off into the world, and then Jesus is crucified. But I found it super interesting that there was never any follow-up with Barabbas. I've researched this before. No one really knows who he is other than those few verses that he's mentioned. They don't really know what happened to him afterwards, if he became a Christian or if he just kept living his life of sin. And I think that is just a beautiful depiction of us, essentially. I wrote a blog post a while back that is titled Barabbas is Me, because really Christ took our place when we deserved to die for our sins, just like he took Barabbas's place when Barabbas deserved to be crucified. And so I'm really fascinated with Barabbas, and I wanted to kind of dive into what his life looked like after Jesus' crucifixion. So at the end of each Fruit of the Spirit section, I have like a tiny little snippet of Barabbas' story after Jesus was crucified and what his life might have looked like. Obviously, I have no idea what happened, and my idea of what happened is most likely entirely off. But I think I think it's on purpose that Barabbas' story isn't explicitly detailed in the Bible. And so I wanted to dive into that and just explore his story through the sections of the book. So anyway, that's kind of the structure of this story that I'm going to be working on. I already have a few stories written. I have the introduction written, as well as like I don't know, it's like a story, but I call it the disclaimer. You'll find out when you get to read it. But anyway, that's what I'm working on. It's so different from what I'm used to working on, because I'm used to having a very planned out structure. I outline every single one of my books, so I know exactly what happens in each chapter. I'm used to being in a fantasy world where people are tiny, and I'm like, what? People are normal sized in this book. What? But anyway, I'm really excited about this, and it's just super fun to write. But I just wanted to share it with you guys because I've been getting a lot of questions about, what are you writing? How's your writing going right now? Because that's like my thing, you know? So people always ask about what I'm writing about. And it's kind of hard to explain in like 30 seconds. So thank you for listening, and now you know what I'm doing. And I wanted to mention, I think this story is going to be unique not only because of how it's structured, but because it comes from like a super unqualified source. So kind of what inspired this idea was I would go into Barnes & Noble and look at the faith section, and I really enjoy reading about faith and other people's testimonies and things like that. But just looking at the faith section in Barnes & Noble or the library or wherever you go, I noticed that almost all the authors were like 30 years old or older, which is to be expected. And it's like better that way because they're obviously qualified to talk about what they're talking about. They have way more life experience than I do. Um, but I thought it was valuable to write a story from a perspective of a very unfinished person, um, someone who's kind of like going through the same things that my readers are going through. Um, I didn't really want to, as a reader, I didn't really want to hear advice about dating life from someone who's like married and has 4 kids and is looking back 20 years to when she was dating. I wanted to hear advice from someone who was doing it right now. Um, so I thought it was valuable to just speak from my own unfinished experience. And I know I'm very unqualified, but that almost makes me more qualified, if that makes sense. So I'm really super excited to write this book for you guys. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys so I could get any ideas from you, any insight, just to update you. I'm obviously in the very beginning stages, so if you guys have any suggestions, I'm super open to it. I want to hear your hearts and what you think I should write, what you think the world needs to hear right now. So yeah, thank you for watching and listening. Now you know what I'm working on. And before you go, just wanted to remind you one more time to sign up for my email list so you can get that free gift. And I can send you the dragonfly I think that you would ride. I'm like super excited, like personally, just to pick out dragonflies for each person. I have a ton of my friends signed up for it, and I'm just like so stoked to pick a dragonfly that I think they would ride. Super nerdy of me, but that's okay. I know I'm a nerd. So yeah, go to AnnabelleHealy.com, put your email in the subscription box, and sign up, and then that's all you have to do. I'll send you an email, and you can get your free gift. Thanks for watching, guys.